What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, is it worth $70? We're going to go into this today in this video because I strongly believe that a lot of people need to understand or know exactly what it is that they're looking at here. You see, I'm sure the reason people are asking this question is because of simply gameplay feel, gameplay mechanics. They want to know how it is, so that's why they're curious. Before we even jump any further, going out there to say shout out to Warner Brothers for sending me a PC key for this game. They sent it on the launch February 2nd. Before then, I'd already gone ahead to purchase my own copy on Xbox, the premium edition, using the New Zealand method to play early. So this is my Xbox gameplay. When I get some time, I'm going to do some gameplay on PC to talk about performance, metrics, and so on and so forth. So we can also look at that side of the whole conversation. However, the $70 price tag or $100, wherever the game is right now, price for you, is the question that a lot of people are wanting to know. So first things first, game is a looter shooter. So you're buying, for the most part, a small piece of the whole pie with a promise that they're going to be giving you more later on down the road. This is usually how a lot of looter shooters come out. Whenever they drop their content, they give you pretty much the first proposition, which you have to, for the most part, go ahead and say to yourself, is this what I want to dial into? My personal opinion is, number one, I strongly believe that this game has been marketed to an audience that is, for the most part, averse to a lot of games like this. So it's going to be very challenging to go ahead and give, say, what I think is a very strong reason for a lot of players to go ahead and touch this game at all, because they're much more dialed in to a lot of the games like Arkham, to a lot of the games like the Marvel Spider-Man game, and those are single players, which supposedly give you the, in quote, whole pie when the game launches, even though sometimes they don't, but some do. So with the Arkham game in mind, you were playing a single player game. You got your entire package as the game came out with DLC added and skins also added. And even though you paid the full price, you still had to pay in some cases for a package later on at a different price, depending on where you were, to get skins in the Arkham games. The Suicide Squad game doesn't necessarily do too much different, other than you required to play the game online only in that regard, and there are technical reasons for that. I've talked about this in the Division's case, talked about this in other games that are live service games. So these are some of the elements that you must pay very close attention to, because if you pay $70, there is that possibility that, okay, the developers or the publisher decides, oh, maybe we don't want to continue with Suicide Squad after all of the content that we've promised and dropped, and the game goes offline, and there's no offline, material piece that you have. However, they've said that they're going to basically go ahead and drop the offline mode, and I've seen people say in the comment section here that the offline mode is what they're waiting for. They're willing to try the game out. So possibly that $70 price tag might start looking better for some other people once the offline mode, which is a mode that they can play regardless of whether the servers go down or not, is something that is available. So when you start thinking about this, you probably already know where you are at the end of the day. Now, another aspect of superhero games, and a lot of fans usually like to pay very close attention to this, is the story. The story of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has been very divisive. In fact, Gotham Knights was divisive because people kind of thought that it was a live service game, even though it is not. I still see a lot of YouTubers, I still see a lot of people out there categorizing it as a live service game. You all need to stop, or I'm going to start making detailed journal videos on how you are being dishonest, like I did with the people who mischaracterized the Gotham Knights combat system and a lot of the gameplay mechanics, because a lot of people basically went in with the mindset of, I don't like this game, so they're just going to tarnish whatever the game is about. That is a careless way of doing things. If it gives you more views, how do you sleep at night? That's what I keep asking. So with a game like this, you are in a live service system. You're basically coming in and playing with 4 characters, basically running around and doing missions that are going to be repetitive. The repetition in a lot of games like this is the lure, because the main attraction actually is that power creep or power progression that you pretty much get. Now, I know some people might say, but the repetitive nature of the game is something that I'm not necessarily in line with, and I understand. But please keep in mind that a lot of video games, including games like the vanilla Destiny, the Division 1, and a lot of other live service games at launch, received the very same criticisms. Now, if you never even had the opportunity to criticize a game like that, meaning you never even bothered playing it, then Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is definitely a game that you're probably not going to appreciate or like. It is just the reality. And this is why the kind of gamer that plays a game like this is very important to be the one that is, in a sense, highlighted when we talk about this. And even the kind of player that doesn't play a game like this as well, we need to make sure that everybody realizes and knows exactly what it is that this game is about. So the $70 price tag now being under question, I'm sure by now you're making your deductions. Online only, repetitive content, all of these things. Maybe that's not worth this to me. Now, for the other side of the conversation, this is the flip of the coin. You have to think about other things like gameplay, mechanics, fidelity, how the game performs. So far, so good. Haven't played the game. I have played on different rigs, which like I said, I'm going to talk about in more detail once I have some time. But I'll give you basically what I think is a or I would say a compressed view of what the performance looks like. Haven't played on Xbox. The copy that I bought with my own $100, that thing was expensive. Oh my goodness, these console games are pricey. Haven't played that. I noticed that had, in my opinion, a much more consistent performance. In fact, I'm actually playing it using remote play on my desktop PC. That's the footage that you're seeing here. And I recorded the content on my desktop. So the Xbox has given me what I think is very stable performance. And I think the experience so far has been really good. There has not been any major glitches or major bugs in regard to performance so far. And I think that's the version I'm going to lean on, continuing to play on. I've also formed our clan there. We have a Discord server if you want to check it out. That'd be pretty neat. The conversation continues to go on with the whole game, Suicide Squad. If you need an LFG, if you want to do any of that stuff, hey, feel free to dial in. That community is great, and everybody is ready to be able to serve you in one way or the other. So keep that in mind. Here it is right here. So when you think about all of that, you go ahead and say, okay, how about PC? What does the experience look like from your own condensed gameplay? Well, I have two builds that I've tested it on, and one of them uses a Ryzen 5 5500 and a 6800 XT. I noticed a lot of stutters. I don't know if it's an AMD driver thing. I haven't looked into my drivers to see if I've updated them, but I'm of the mind that, do I have to update my drivers every time? Now, I know that's, basically just throwing out there, but driver updates can usually save your game. And I noticed the developers also put out an announcement on Discord saying, hey, make sure you update your drivers because the new drivers have basically shown up. So for those of you who may be having those stutters, look at your drivers. I wanted to make sure that I highlighted that point because not until I played a little bit did I realize, oh no, you did not update your drivers. When I played on my NVIDIA 4090, that one basically powers through many different games. So 4K, I was averaging somewhere around 50-something FPS at 4K. If I scale it down, I'm certain I probably can maintain a solid 60 FPS and have no hiccups. But again, that's not a build that I usually, talk about when it comes to, a lot of gameplay because I use that for production. And usually that kind of use is very specific. So what I call mid-range, low range, all the way to, high range or whatever it is, you're going to see for the most part what I think is enough consistency to make okay, the PC version is not going to give you any problems. Even reading reviews, you'll see that there's barely any issue with performance, except one guy that I saw on Steam who said maybe the game needs to be, restructured so that I can play it on my 3-screen monitor setup. I literally saw a review that said that. So that was very interesting. So again, with a $70 price tag, I'm sure you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, if I got a decent rig, I might be able to go ahead and get some gameplay in. But again, a lot of this is very dependent on servers and so on and so forth. But it doesn't mean that benchmarks are not valuable for you. They are, because there are aspects of the game that are running on your machine. So those aspects and how they perform is actually a really big deal. So if you have any questions about the game, I'm certain that you've seen enough reviews. I'm certain you've even seen spoilers at this point or even heard of them. So with the story and all of that, I'm not going to spoil anything for you in this video. I don't care, if you know about it or not, but if you wanted to go ahead and, take a look or take a peek, you'll be able to get yourself informed as to that. But with a live service game, you're mainly playing the game. You're not really sitting there drooling in the story. Like I said, if there's a story beat that you're looking for or whatnot, you're not going to find it much in a game like this. The other single player games are probably right up your wheelhouse. So let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.